eliminate anything that isn't human.
Drone Striker review for the PlayStation VR. Let's begin! Drone Striker is an on-rail shooting game that has 3 stages for you to beat on a normal and hard difficulty setting. The story is that AI has replaced the police and has become self-aware. Now, instead of serving humans, they see us as a threat, and it's your task to stop them. There really isn't much storyline here. There is a brief cutscene at the beginning, and then radio chat during the levels. The subtitles that are seen on screen for these moments are easily readable. It's certainly not aiming to be a story-driven experience, and the lack of narrative carries over to the mission briefing screen. But on the plus side, if you do have the best name in the world, you will feel slightly more immersed.
I'm sorry, there are no vital signs left from your fellow soldiers. Only you're left, Chris.
There is a short tutorial that gets you used to the very simple controls. You can shoot, fire missiles, and throw bombs. Although you have 3 weapons, you only really have control over 2. These are your machine gun and bombs. When shooting your machine gun, if you have any missiles, they will fire automatically. This is a real shame, as it removes the strategic element of waiting for the right moment to use them. It did actually prevent me from worrying too much about how well I was aiming with the machine gun for a large portion of the first stage, as I knew if my reticle passed over an enemy once, a missile would lock on and do a great amount of damage. Luckily, this isn't an issue later on, as ammo boxes that are found around the stages become less frequent. Unlike the missiles, bombs you can chuck at any time, and they do a lot of damage over a very wide area. These really are a lifesaver later on, when the screen is filled with enemies. The amount of ammo and health you have is displayed just in front of you, and just like for radio subtitles, they are easily visible, even if you do play in a seated position. In fact, the game can be fully played from start to finish while seated, and it's very unlikely that you will feel motion sick due to you never moving fast along the set path. At first, it seems like there is going to be a great variety to the enemies. Some fly and some are on the ground. Both can and will throw projectiles your way. Flying razor discs come soaring towards your face, and bombs bounce along the ground that require some quite quick aiming reflexes. The problem with the enemies is that you have seen most of them by the beginning of stage 2, resulting in you no longer being surprised by their attack patterns. It removes some of the challenge and makes the game become quite repetitive. The difficulty only really returns when loads of enemies are thrown your way at once. Luckily, there is still some learning to be had in each stage, thanks to the boss battles, but even then, some of their attacks are still the same, such as when they send flying razor discs your way. It is still quite a thrilling battle though, as the machines really are massive and they do tower above you. They're certainly a highlight of the game, and the music enhances the intensity. Each stage is incredibly detailed, especially the city. The explosions do sound and look great, but the same can't really be said about the sound coming from your machine gun. There are some action-based set pieces during each stage, but these don't always seem that necessary. Don't get me wrong, I love seeing things explode in VR, especially when they do look this good. But things often seem to explode in the environment for no real reason. This did slightly remind me of a well-known film director. The game does have amazing controller support, which makes sure that no gamer is left out. You can play with a DualShock controller, one move controller or the aim controller. The DualShock controller is the worst way to play, but it is still fun. It's easy to aim using the DualShock's motion sensor, but it is let down by feeling like you're not physically holding the gun. Holding the guns with either the move controller or aim controller both feel incredibly realistic, and because of this, it was quite hard for me to choose which was my preferred way to play. It took me around an hour and 15 minutes to beat the game on the normal difficulty, so you can at least double that if you are going to play the game on the hard mode. And you will need to do this if you intend on getting 100% of the game's trophies. Playing on the harder difficulty actually rewards more points, which will make the point related trophies easier to grab. There is also some trophies for not using a bomb during a stage, and also for not taking any damage. You will also have to keep an eye out for the power up boxes, as some trophies do require you to find them. Winking Skywalker Entertainment have made a fun and simple shooter. Don't expect a deep storyline or unlockable system here. It really is basic point and shoot with the addition of chucking a bomb here and there. The game's design overall does play it safe with the genre, and nothing really shocks you or stands out, apart from seeing the bosses for the first time. There were certainly moments when I was having a blast, but there were times when I felt like it got quite repetitive due to the lack of consistent enemy variety, which is a shame considering the game's length. The game's price isn't over the top, but still, unless you plan on replaying on the hard mode, you may be left feeling a little disappointed. But if you do like to perfect your scores in a game, you'll be happy to know that there is a reason to return time and time again, due to online leaderboards. These leaderboards do appear to show your final score for full playthrough though, and don't have scores tied to separate stages. The game may be brief, but it is action-packed throughout, and it gives you a reason to use your aim controller again. It does work so well, and I think that you will get some enjoyment from it. Even when playing with the move controller, it is a decent enough shooter. If you want to see more gameplay of Drone Striker, there is a video on screen right now that shows you each controller type in action. If this review helped you in any way, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more PlayStation VR content.